I've been standing in the shadows for a while now, watching the house, the one with all the lights on at the far end of the exclusive enclave. The curtains are wide open. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I can see the party in full swing, a glittering scene of clinking glasses and manufactured laughter. Impeccably dressed men and women hold their cocktails, making small talk over the thrum of the music. The woman in the champagne-colored, backless dress is my wife, Chloe. She's pressed up against a man in a crisp white shirt, her laughter loud and unrestrained. The man's hand rests on the small of her back, his thumb drawing slow, deliberate circles. This is the first time I've ever followed her. It all started 3 hours ago. At 9 o'clock, Chloe told me she was going to a girls' night at her best friend's place. I didn't think anything of it, not until I happened to see the new dress changed into a dress that cost over $3,000. I hadn't bought it for her, and knowing her as I do, she would never wear something that revealing, that overtly sexual, to a casual get-together with her friends. I followed her car, keeping my distance all the way out here. The Crestwood Estates in Greenwich, Connecticut. Prime real estate for the city's ultra-rich. Ethan, are you being paranoid? I tried to reason with myself, but the knot in my stomach only tightened. Just then, the man with the white shirt leaned in and whispered something in Chloe's ear. She laughed, nodding, and they exchanged a look before heading toward the staircase. My heart seized. After a moment's hesitation, I decided I had to see this through. As a senior executive at a major corporation, I know a thing or two about the security systems in places like this. It didn't take long to find a blind spot in the surveillance. I slipped over the wall and into the manicured grounds. Using the darkness as cover, I made my way around to the back of the mansion. The glass doors to a second-floor terrace were wide open. The sound of music and suggestive laughter drifted out into the night. I held my breath and crept closer, and then I saw it. Chloe and the man were locked in a passionate kiss. Her arms were wrapped around his neck, her body molding against his. She was the aggressor. "Julian, you're terrible." Her playful, breathy voice carried on the air. The man chuckled. "Baby, what's the husband doing tonight? Burning the midnight oil again." "All he does is work," Chloe said, her tone dripping with disdain. "He has no idea how to live. That man is such a bore, not like you. You actually get me." "Poor Ethan," the man purred into her ear. "Works his ass off to buy you pretty things, and here you are with me. Don't talk about him. You'll ruin the mood." Chloe tapped him playfully on the chest. "Julian, you promised you'd take me to the Maldives." "Of course. Next month, it's a date. Just imagine us on the beach." I couldn't listen anymore. It felt like someone had driven a fist straight into my chest, a suffocating, brutal pain. My hands curled into fists, my nails digging so deep into my palms that I should have felt it, but I felt nothing. 6 years. 6 years of marriage. I thought we were building a life together, that we'd grow old together. I never imagined it would end up like this. The sickest irony? I knew the man. Julian Croft, a notorious playboy heir to a local real estate fortune, a minor name in business circles. I met him once at a charity gala. He had shaken my hand, raised a glass to me, and said he admired my professional achievements. And now he was upstairs kissing my wife. I forced myself to be calm. Pulling my phone from my pocket, I aimed it at the terrace. I took several pictures and a short video. Then I turned and walked away. As I passed a marble fountain, I caught my reflection in the water. Dressed in a tailored suit, my face a rigid mask. I looked like a pathetic clown. On the drive home, I pulled over to the side of the road and slammed my hand against the steering wheel again and again. I didn't stop until my palms were raw and throbbing. Staring at the pictures and the video on my phone, I started to laugh. "All right, Chloe, you just handed me the perfect opportunity. Don't blame me for being cruel." I didn't confront her. Not yet. Over the next few days, I began a systematic investigation. I hired a private investigator. I had him pull her call logs, vehicle GPS history, and credit card statements. The results were staggering. They had been seeing each other for over 6 months. During that time, there were dozens of dinners at Michelin-star restaurants and countless luxury gifts from Julian. The bags and jewelry alone were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. No wonder Chloe kept saying she was having a good year with her investments and wanted to treat herself. And like a fool, I was happy for her. What sent a hot spike of rage through me was the discovery that they had taken a trip to the Bahamas together. Just last month, Chloe had told me she was going on a wellness retreat with her friends. The thought of them together on a white sand beach made me want to kill them both. The investigator also sent a video file. It was from a waterfront restaurant at a resort. In the video, Julian had his arm wrapped around Chloe, showing her off to a table of his friends. "This is my new girl," he was saying. "Beautiful, right? Isn't she married to some corporate guy?" One of them asked with a laugh. "Who cares?" Julian said, looking smug. "Her husband's a workaholic drone. He has no idea. Poor Ethan is probably crunching numbers in an office right now." The table erupted in laughter. Chloe didn't even seem angry. She just snuggled deeper into Julian's embrace. "Julian, you're so bad. Baby, you're my woman. Nobody's taking you from me." I closed the video. If I watched any more, I was afraid I'd lose control. When I got home that evening, Chloe was trying on a new dress. Seeing me, she ran over and threw her arms around my neck. "Honey, what do you think? Do you like it?" I choked back my disgust and forced a smile. "It's beautiful." "How much was it?" "A little over $3,000, but I paid for it myself." "My own money," she said with a proud little smile. I stared at the dress. It was the one she'd worn to the party. How perfect, spending her lover's money to buy a dress to wear for her lover. "My wife's becoming quite the businesswoman," I said, my voice even. "Of course. I want to contribute too," she said, standing on her toes to kiss me. "You work so hard, honey. I want to do my part." I just smiled faintly. Watching her turn away, I wondered if she could act this naturally now. Was our entire marriage just a performance? For the next few days, I continued gathering evidence. At the same time, I started laying the groundwork for what was to come. I was going to give this perfect couple the takedown they deserved. I came home from work one evening to hear Chloe's voice coming from the bathroom. She was on the phone. "Julian, where are we going this weekend?" "Stop it, you're so bad." "But I like it. My husband, he's been acting a little weird lately, always staring at me." "Don't worry, he's so clueless. How could he possibly find out? Besides, he's obsessed with his reputation. Even if he knew, he'd never make a scene." Hearing her light, dismissive laugh, I felt a murderous impulse rise in my chest. But I told myself to stay calm. It wasn't time yet. I quietly backed out of the apartment and then re-entered, slamming the door shut. "Honey, you're home," Chloe called out, emerging from the bathroom wrapped in a towel. "I just finished my shower. Want to take one?" I nodded. "Sure." Looking at my own haggard reflection in the mirror, a cold smile spread across my face. "You think I want to make a scene, Chloe? Let's see just how big of a scene I can make." It was Saturday. Chloe started putting on her makeup first thing in the morning. "Honey, I'm going to a girls' night tonight. I might be back late," she said, carefully applying her eyeliner in the mirror. The same old excuse. My investigator had already informed me. There was a party tonight at an estate in Greenwich, a favorite haunt for Julian Croft and his trust fund friends to indulge their vices. I watched her meticulous preparations. "Do you want me to give you a ride?" I asked suddenly. Her hand slipped, smudging the eyeliner. No, that's okay. I can drive myself. It's your day off. You should relax." I walked up behind her, meeting her eyes in the mirror. "You've been going to a lot of parties lately. Am I getting too boring for you?" She spun around, a practiced smile on her face, and wrapped her arms around my neck. "Of course not. I just don't want you to be tired. You work so hard. I'd never want to interrupt your rest." I cupped her chin in my hand. "Is that so? Then cancel tonight. Stay home with me." Her eyes darted away. I don't know if I can. We already made plans." "So what? Call your friend and tell her something came up?" I said, lowering my head to kiss her. She flinched for a split second before responding. I could feel the resistance in her body. How ironic. She used to love kissing me. Now it was clearly a chore. I pulled away and smiled. "I'm just kidding. Go. Have a good time." She visibly relaxed. "You're the best, honey." As I watched her drive away, I pulled out my phone and sent a single text. "It's on." At 9 o'clock sharp, I arrived at the Crestwood Estates. Just as I expected, Chloe's car was parked out front. Through the massive windows, I could see her on the dance floor, slow dancing with Julian Croft, their bodies pressed close. I walked up to the front door and rang the bell. A man I didn't recognize opened it. He blinked in confusion. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to pick up my wife," I said with a pleasant smile. He looked bewildered but stepped aside to let me in. The music was deafening. No one noticed me at first. I stood by the entrance, my eyes fixed on the couple in the center of the room. Julian's hands were roaming freely over Chloe's back as they whispered and laughed. Suddenly, someone recognized me. "Hey, isn't that Ethan Vance?" The music screeched to a halt. Every head in the room turned to look at me. The color drained from Chloe's face. She shoved Julian away. Ethan." Julian was stunned for a moment, then quickly composed himself. "Vance, what a coincidence." I walked toward them slowly, a placid smile on my face. "It is, isn't it? I'm just here to take my wife home." Chloe started stammering. "Honey, I just ran into Julian by chance." "By chance?" I cut her off, my smile never wavering. "A coincidence that's been happening for the past 6 months?" Her pupils shrank. What are you talking about?" I took my phone out of my pocket, pulling up the gallery of videos and photos. "Should I play these for everyone?" Julian's expression hardened. "Vance, don't take this too far." "Too far?" I let out a short, cold laugh. "You're sleeping with my wife, and you think I'm the one taking it too far?" I turned my gaze back to Chloe. "Honey, you said I'd never make a scene. Well, here I am. What do you think I should do now?" Chloe was trembling. "Ethan, I was wrong." "Wrong?" I shook my head. "Is that all you have to say? No more comments about how I'm a bore, how I don't know how to live." Her face was as white as a sheet. You know everything." "I know everything," I said, each word deliberate and sharp. "And this is only the beginning." Julian suddenly sneered. "What's that supposed to mean, Vance? Is that a threat?" I looked him straight in the eye. "Mr. Croft, what do you think would happen if I sent these photos to page 6? His face fell. "You wouldn't dare." "Why not?" My smile was ice. "Worst case scenario, this boring old workaholic gets to have a little fun with you." The room was dead silent. Everyone was holding their breath, watching us. Julian gritted his teeth. "Vance, don't think I'm afraid of you. The Croft family name means something in this city." Crack. The sound of my hand striking his face cut him off. Ugh. One of his friends rushed forward, and I kicked him squarely in the chest, sending him staggering back. "You think I'm afraid of your family name?" I looked down at him, my voice dripping with contempt. "You're nothing but a spoiled brat who's coasted on his father's money his entire life. Tonight, I'm going to teach you what happens when you cross me." With that, I turned to leave. Chloe ran after me. "Ethan, wait, let me explain." I stopped and turned to face her. Her eyes were filled with tears, her face a mask of desperation. "I'm so sorry, I really am. Please, can you forgive me? I'll never, ever do it again." I reached out and gently stroked her cheek. "Chloe, tell me, should I forgive you?" She grabbed my hand. "Ethan." I leaned in close to her ear and whispered, "But I'm not going to." A tremor went through her entire body. "You thought I was boring?" I continued, my voice low and menacing. "I'm about to show you just how interesting I can be." I pulled my hand away and walked out without a backward glance. Behind me, I could hear her start to sob, but I knew it was all an act. "Fine. If you want to play games, let's play." This night was only the beginning. The next morning, Chloe was on her knees in front of me, begging. "Ethan, I swear I know I was wrong." She sobbed, her face streaked with tears. "Hit me, scream at me, do whatever you want. Just please don't divorce me." I sat on the sofa, looking down at her pathetic form. She had always been so proud, so arrogant. Now, here she was pleading at my feet. "Get up," I said flatly. Her tear-filled eyes looked up at me. "Ethan, I'm not divorcing you." "Not yet," I said, "but you going to cooperate with me?" She nodded frantically. "Anything. I'll do anything you say." A cold smile touched my lips. "Anything? Then call Julian Croft right now and tell him we've made up." She froze. "What? What's the matter?" "Can't bear to do it." "No, that's not it." She shook her head desperately. "I'll call him right now." As she fumbled for her phone, I added, "And remember, sound happy about it. Tell him I forgave you and that he doesn't need to worry." She bit her lip and dialed the number. "Julian, it's me." She forced a sweetness into her voice that made my stomach turn. "You don't have to worry. Ethan forgave me." "Yes, he said he won't release the photos." "Okay, talk to you later." After hanging up, she looked at me, relieved. "Honey, I did it." "Good," I nodded. "Now, go pack a suitcase." "What for?" "You're coming with me on a business trip for a week," I said, standing up. "Is that a problem?" No, no, of course not, she said quickly. I'll go pack right now. As she hurried into the bedroom, I pulled out my own phone. The screen showed that the call she just made had been recorded. Meanwhile, the people I had hired were already making their moves. You love to show off, don't you, Julian? Then let's see how you like being publicly humiliated. In a world of high finance, connections are everything. I discreetly contacted several firms that did business with the Croft family. They each received an anonymous package containing photos and videos. In the photos, Julian wasn't just with my wife. He was with the wives of other powerful men. The photos were fakes, of course. Fabrications I'd paid a premium for. But they were good enough to be convincing. Soon, the images were circulating through the city's most exclusive business circles. Several of the Croft family's most important joint ventures were abruptly canceled. Their company's stock began to slide. At the same time, I had my people leak rumors to the financial press. Julian Croft was embezzling company funds to support his decadent lifestyle. The story caught fire. In a single day, the Croft Corporation's market value dropped by nearly $50 million. But that wasn't enough. For that week, I took Chloe with me to Chicago. It was a business trip on paper, but in reality, it was to give her a rock-solid alibi. Because Julian Croft's most important real estate project was about to have a very serious accident. Honey, you seem to be in a good mood lately, Chloe said one evening, testing the waters. I put my arm around her. That's because I have my wife with me. She leaned against me. Ethan, have you really forgiven me? Of course, I said, kissing her forehead. Let's just put the past behind us. Tears of gratitude welled in her eyes. Oh, Ethan, I promise I'll make it up to you. I smiled inwardly. Chloe, you fool. Did you really think I could ever forgive you? You're nothing but a pawn in my game. On the 7th day, on the flight back to New York, I got a call. Mr. Vance, it's done. A genuine smile finally broke through. Excellent work. After I hung up, Chloe snuggled closer. Who was that, honey? Just work? I said, pulling her in. You must be exhausted after this week. Not at all, she purred. As long as I'm with you, I'm happy. I looked at her, at this masterpiece of an act she was putting on, and said casually, By the way, have you heard how Julian Croft is doing? Her body went rigid. I have no idea. Really? I said playfully. I heard his company is in some serious trouble. Is that right? Her voice was trembling slightly. Yeah, something about financial fraud, I think, I said, as if discussing the weather. The SEC is getting involved. Her head shot up. What? I sighed dramatically. You know how these trust fund kids are. They don't know the first thing about running a business. All they know how to do is chase women. Looks like it finally caught up with him. She bit her lip, saying nothing. I knew exactly what she was thinking. That's right. Julian Croft was finished. I had fabricated a trail of evidence within his flagship project, leading investigators directly to a clear-cut case of investment fraud. He was probably in federal custody by now. But the best part was yet to come. Just you wait. The real show is about to start. As soon as we got home, Chloe's phone rang. She glanced at me before ducking into the bedroom to answer it. Even through the closed door, I heard her horrified gasp. What? That's impossible. A few minutes later, she emerged, looking pale and shaken. What's wrong? I asked, feigning concern. And nothing. She stammered, forcing a smile. I'm just going to take a shower. I knew what she had just heard. Julian Croft had been arrested by the FBI. The evidence against him was damning. Worse, it was tied to a much larger web of organized crime. The Croft family was ruined. That night, Chloe couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned in bed. Can't sleep? I asked softly. Ethan. She suddenly clung to me. I'm scared. Scared of what? I'm so sorry. She started crying. I really know I was wrong. I stroked her hair. Silly girl. Didn't I tell you I forgave you? That only made her cry harder. But I don't deserve it. I was so stupid. I kissed her forehead. Go to sleep. It's all over now. She eventually cried herself to sleep. But I knew she wasn't crying out of guilt. She was crying out of fear. Fear that Julian would implicate her. Fear that she would be dragged down with him. And most of all, fear of losing me, her protector. Good. I want you to be afraid. The next day, even bigger news broke. Julian Croft had been caught with a significant quantity of narcotics. The FBI had raided his Greenwich mansion and found a stash of cocaine and other illegal substances. This, too, was my doing. It had cost me a fortune, but it was worth every penny. Chloe was a nervous wreck all day. That evening, she finally broke. Ethan, do you think Julian really did drugs? I was reading the Wall Street Journal. Why? Are you concerned about him? No, she said quickly. I can't believe it. What's so hard to believe? I put down the paper. A guy like that is capable of anything. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I suddenly asked, by the way, back when you were with him, you never did any of that, did you? Her face went deathly pale. No, absolutely not. I nodded. Good. Because if you did, you'd be part of the investigation. She was trembling uncontrollably. Investigation? Of course, I said. The feds will have to question everyone associated with him, especially his mistresses. She looked like she was about to faint. Ethan, I put my arm around her. Don't worry, I'll protect you. She collapsed into my arms. Ethan, I'm so scared. I'm here, I said softly. But she had no idea that the real horror was still to come. A week later, Julian Croft was formally indicted. In his confession, he revealed something even more explosive. The parties he hosted at his mansion were a cover for high-stakes drug deals. Many of the guests who attended were users. The news sent a shockwave through the city's elite social circles. Anyone who had ever been to one of Julian's parties was now living in fear. Chloe was on the verge of a complete breakdown. She spent her days locked in our bedroom, refusing to see anyone. Finally, she came to me. Ethan, I have to tell you something. What is it? I went to his parties, she said, chewing on her lower lip. But I swear I never did any drugs. My face was a mask of stone. How many times? Jay, just 3 times. Liar, I said coldly. It was at least 10. She stared at me, horrified. How? How did you know? I had you investigated. I told her. You always dressed to the nines for those parties, didn't you? She started to shake. Ethan, please, you have to help me. How? I shot back. The evidence the feds have. You think I can make it disappear? But they won't find anything. I really didn't do it. She sobbed. Just then, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find 2 federal agents standing there. Good evening. We're with the FBI. We'd like to ask Miss Chloe Vance a few questions. Chloe crumpled to the floor. I helped her to her feet. Cooperate with the investigation. The agents took her away. As I watched the black sedan pull away, I took out my phone. Has the video been sent out? Sent to all major news outlets. The voice on the other end confirmed. Good. I hung up and opened a news app on my phone. Sure enough, a bombshell video was already going viral. It showed Chloe, dressed provocatively, getting intimate with Julian Croft at a wild party. In the background, though blurred, figures could be seen snorting a white powder. Chloe's face, however, was perfectly clear. The comments section exploded. OMG, isn't that Chloe Vance, the socialite? Wait, isn't she married? To who again? An exec at Vance Capital. Poor bastard. She cheated on him and does drugs. Wow, I hope her brand sponsors see this canceled. Within an hour, Chloe's Instagram was overrun. All of her brand endorsement deals were terminated. Fashion magazines pulled her editorials from their websites. The same media outlets that had once celebrated her were now crucifying her for her moral failings. Late that night, the agents brought Chloe home. The moment she stepped inside, she collapsed. It's over. Everything is over. I looked at her coldly. How did the questioning go? I told them I didn't do any drugs. She wept. But that video online, I saw it, I said. You're famous. Her head snapped up, her eyes blazing with a new kind of fire. It was you, wasn't it? I raised an eyebrow. What was me? You leaked the video, she shrieked. You knew everything all along. You're getting revenge on me. I started to applaud, slowly and deliberately. Finally figured it out, have you? She lunged at me like a wild animal. Why? You said you forgave me. I shoved her away easily. Forgive you? Do you think you deserve it? She fell to the floor in a heap. You're so cruel. Me cruel? I sneered. What about when you were betraying me? Was that not cruel? I know I was wrong. She begged, crawling toward me. Please, just help me. It's too late, I said, looking down at her. And this is just the beginning. She trembled. What else are you going to do? You love money more than anything, right? I smiled. So I'm going to make sure you don't get a single cent. I pulled a stack of papers from my briefcase. This is our divorce agreement, I said. You will waive your right to all marital assets, including your investments and personal savings. Never, she screamed. That's my money. Are you sure about that? I produced another file. Or would you prefer I send this to the FBI? She looked at the documents, and her face went ashen. It was irrefutable proof that she had helped Julian Croft launder money. You had this ready the whole time, she said, her voice hollow with despair. That's right, I nodded. I've been preparing this since the day I found out you were cheating. So, your forgiveness. It was all a lie. Of course, I scoffed. Did you really think I would forgive a woman who betrayed me? She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Ethan, you're heartless. Takes one to know one, I said, tossing the divorce papers at her. Sign them, and I won't give this evidence to the feds. With a trembling hand, she picked up the pen. The moment she signed her name, I turned to leave. Ethan, she screamed at my back. I hope you rot in hell. I paused at the door. You think this is over? She froze. This is just the beginning, I said. You love being the center of attention, don't you? Well, I'm going to make you the star of the show. Then I walked out and didn't look back. The next day, an even bigger storm hit. An anonymous source leaked information that Chloe hadn't just been involved with Julian Croft, but with several other wealthy businessmen as well. Photos, videos, and incriminating text messages were published online. Though she vehemently denied it, the evidence was overwhelming. The social world that had built her up promptly cast her out. The once revered goddess of high society became a pariah, a target for public scorn. She came to find me at my office. Ethan, what exactly do you want from me? She asked, looking gaunt and haunted. I told you. I wanted you to know what it feels like to be the center of attention, I said, calmly sipping my espresso. Do you have any idea what my life is like now? She hissed. People point and whisper at me on the street. Isn't that what you always wanted? I smiled. You love the spotlight. She was shaking with rage. I'm telling you one last time, let me go. Let you go. I set down my cup. When you betrayed me, did you ever think about the consequences? I know I was wrong. She suddenly dropped to her knees. Please, I'll do anything. I looked down at her. Anything? Yes. She grabbed the leg of my pants. If you just stop this, I'll do whatever you want. I leaned down, getting close to her face. All right, I'll give you a chance. Her eyes lit up with a flicker of hope. Really? Go kill yourself, I said, each word a shard of ice. She looked as though I had struck her. What? What did you say? You said you'd do anything, didn't you? I sneered. So go do it. Ethan, she screamed. You're not human. Neither are you, I said, standing up. Now, get out, and don't bother me again. She flew at me in a blind rage. I'll kill you. I sidestepped her easily, and she crashed to the floor. Is that all you've got? I mocked. No wonder Julian got tired of you. Scrambling to her feet, she grabbed a fruit knife from the coffee table. Ethan, go to hell. I caught her wrist in an iron grip, and the knife clattered to the floor. You hate me that much, I whispered, my lips close to her ear. Good, because I hate you more. With a final shove, I sent her stumbling backward into a vase, shattering it. Security guards, hearing the commotion, rushed in and dragged her out. Ethan, her voice echoed down the hallway. I curse you. I hope you die a horrible death. I closed the door without a word. That evening, my assistant reported, Chloe Vance was hospitalized after a suicide attempt. I let out a cold laugh. Her? Not a chance. She loves herself far too much. Sure enough, she was discharged the next day. But this time, she didn't come to me. Instead, she posted a long, rambling essay online. She claimed I had abused her, that I had coerced her into signing the divorce agreement. She wrote that I had stripped her of everything and made her life a living hell. She was playing for sympathy. Unfortunately for her, no one was buying it. The comments were brutal. You deserve it. You made your bed. Now lie in it. Does she really have the nerve to play the victim? Her social media accounts were so flooded with hate that she had to shut them down. She came to see me one last time. Ethan, let's call a truce, she said. She looked like a ghost. I just looked at her. A truce? Do you think you're worthy? I really know I was wrong. She cried. Just give me one more chance. A chance? I laughed. All right, I'll give you a chance. She looked up, a desperate hope in her eyes. Kneel, I commanded. She bit her lip, but she did it. She knelt on the expensive rug. Now crawl over here. She crawled. I crouched down, grabbing her chin and forcing her to look at me. So now you know how to beg. It's too late. The last glimmer of hope in her eyes died. Get out, I said, standing up, and never let me see you again. She remained on the floor, a broken doll in couture. 07. A month later, Chloe had completely vanished from the public eye. I thought it was finally over, until one evening. I had just walked out of my office building when a dark figure lunged at me from the shadows. A glint of metal flashed in the dim light. I twisted away on pure instinct. The blade of a knife sliced across my arm. Ethan, D. It was Chloe's voice. Her hair was a mess, her eyes wild and crazed. She looked like a madwoman. Security guards tackled her to the ground instantly. Let me go, she shrieked, struggling against them. I have to kill him. I clutched my bleeding arm, looking down at her. Is this the best you can do? You devil, she screamed. You ruined my life. I let out a cold laugh. We ruined each other's. I hate you. Her eyes were burning with pure insanity. I hope you die. You'd have to be competent enough to make that happen, I said, stepping closer. But for now, it's you who will be paying the price for your actions. She froze. What do you mean? Assault with a deadly weapon, I said. Add that to the money laundering evidence I have, and that should be enough to keep you in prison for a few years. The color drained from her face. You can't do that. Why not? I loomed over her. Did you really think I'd go soft on you? She started to laugh, then a horrifying, unhinged sound. Ethan, you know what? I never loved you. I only married you for your money. She shrieked. Every single day I spent with you felt disgusting. Is that so? I was unmoved. And now? Was it worth it? She had no answer. Call the police, I told the guards. The NYPD arrived quickly and took her away. As I watched the squad car disappear, I touched the cut on my arm. It wasn't deep, but it stung. Just like the sting of her betrayal had, all those months ago. The next day, I received an update. Chloe had a complete psychotic break in her holding cell, screaming that she was going to kill me. The police recommended a psychiatric evaluation. I agreed. The results confirmed she was no longer mentally competent. On the day she was transferred to a psychiatric hospital, she was still cursing my name. I went to see her once. In a sterile room, she was strapped to a bed, her hair matted, looking every bit the part of a lunatic. Ethan, she began to struggle violently the moment she saw me. I'll kill you. I just stood there, watching her. You already did. She stopped. What? The Ethan who loved you, I said, my voice devoid of all emotion. You killed him. She suddenly went quiet, and tears began to stream down her face. Why? Why did you have to do this to me? Because you betrayed me, I said. This is the price. I hate you, she whispered. Thank you, I said, turning to leave. Your hatred is the sweetest revenge of all. As I walked away, I could hear her screaming my name. Ethan, I hope you rot in hell. I didn't look back. That was the last time I ever saw her. A week later, I received a call from the hospital. Chloe had bitten through the artery in her wrist. They found her before she bled out, but the loss of oxygen to her brain was too severe. They had saved her life, but she was in a persistent vegetative state. I went to the hospital one last time. The woman who had once been the epitome of glamour and beauty now lay motionless in a hospital bed, tubes running in and out of her body. The doctor said she would likely never wake up. I sat by her bedside for a long time. I thought about our past, the sweetness of when we first fell in love, the agony of her betrayal, the cold resolve of my revenge. In the end, it all amounted to nothing. Before I left, I touched her face. Goodbye. As I walked out of the hospital, it started to rain. I remembered the day I proposed to her. It had been raining then, too. She had smiled so brightly that day. But that was all gone now. There was no going back. 08. Julian Croft's and was even more grim than Chloe's. He was beaten severely in prison, and his legs were broken. The official story was a gang dispute. But I knew the truth. I had arranged it. His family's corporation filed for bankruptcy. The news caused his father to have a massive stroke. A month later, Julian hanged himself in his cell. He left a note claiming that I was the one who had destroyed him. He was right. This was the result I wanted. You loved playing games with people's lives, didn't you? Now you know what it feels like to be the one who gets played. Some people might say I went too far, But those who betray me must be prepared to pay the price. Back in my empty apartment, I sat in the dark. On the table was a single photograph. Our wedding photo. Chloe was in a white dress, her smile radiant and full of happiness. I tore the photo into pieces and dropped them into the trash can. Then, I took out a lighter and set them on fire. I watched the picture of our life together turn to ash. Just like our love. Gone forever. A month later, I saw a small news brief online. Chloe Vance's heart had stopped. The doctors said it was as if she had simply lost the will to live. I attended the funeral. As I watched her casket being lowered into the ground, I felt nothing. The Ethan who had loved her was already dead. On the drive home, I passed by the Crestwood Estates, the place where I had first discovered her affair. The mansions were still there, lit up against the night sky, but the people were gone. I allowed myself a small, bitter smile. You always loved a good party, didn't you, Chloe? Well, now it's quiet. Forever. Life went on. I continued to live. I went to work on time, came home on time. Until one day, I overheard some colleagues talking in a break room. Did you hear about the Croft kid? The one who went to jail? Yeah, killed himself, didn't he? Good riddance. He got what he deserved after all the crap he pulled. It's a shame he dragged so many people down with him. That socialite, his mistress, she went crazy. You mean Chloe Vance? I heard she died, too. Karma's a bitch, I guess. I picked up my coffee and walked away, my expression unchanged. Yes, karma. This is the price of betrayal. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and wonder, what if I had never found out about the affair? What if I had chosen to forgive her? Would things have been different? But I know it's a pointless question. Some things, once broken, can never be fixed. Like a shattered mirror, the cracks will always remain. I opened the window and lit a cigarette. In the distance, the lights of Greenwich still sparkled brightly. Somewhere out there, a party was in full swing. But she would never be there again. This was the end.